Welcome to Talk with Tara, the podcast where we dive into the bold, the funny, and the fascinating. I'm Tara, your host, bringing you unfiltered conversations on life, love, and everything in between. Hit that follow button so you're always in the loop. And now let's get started. Today, we are talking about something that goes far deeper than cleaning out your closet. We are talking about what it really means to let go so you can move forward. Whether you're going through a divorce or you're becoming an empty nester or you're losing a loved one because we are in the sandwich era, or simply feeling stuck in a version of your life that no longer fits, the physical clutter around you often reflects what's going on internally. This episode is about releasing the emotional weight of stuff. We have so much stuff, and making intentional decisions about what stays in your life and creating space for you and who you are becoming next. So our guest today is Tracy Hoth. She's a professional organizer, a certified life coach, and the founder of Simply Squared Away. She helps women simplify their homes and their lives by cleaning clutter, creating functional systems, and letting go of what no longer serves them. She has a calm and compassionate approach. She specializes in guiding people through major life transitions, including divorce, moving, and what we talked about, loss. And she helps clients not only organize their space, but also process the emotional weight behind their belongings. You know how hard it is to throw out those old jeans or that trinket that you really don't need anymore. And through her coaching programs and practical strategies, Tracy empowers women to create homes that support who they are becoming and not who they used to be. Tracy, welcome.
Thank you, Tara. I'm so glad to be here.
I'm so happy to have you. You have your own podcast. So tell us a little bit about your podcast.
Yes, it's called The Organized Coach. I'm almost hitting 3 years of doing this, and I talk all about business organizing, home organizing, the mindset around it, and everything in between.
Oh, I love it. I've listened to some of your episodes, and they've been amazing. I love them. Well, as someone who is going through a move right now, this is perfect. Perfect timing for me and perfect timing for my listeners. So I have my marital house, and we're getting ready to rent it and clearing everything out. We've been doing a good job of that, but there are things that we want to keep. And then, or there's that thing that you're like, if I throw this away, I'm going to regret throwing it away. So let me give you an example. I had a sewing machine that I never used and a box of sewing stuff. And it was in my storage closet. I'm like, oh my God, I haven't used this for years. So I just gave it away. And then I was like, oh, my pillowcase had come undone and I didn't have my sewing stuff. So what do you do? Then I'm like, oh, now I have to go back. I have to go on Amazon and I have to spend money and buy a needle and a thread and put it in a new box and kit. So how do you not go through that stuff? Like, oh, I may need this one day with that battle of, but I should just get rid of it now. So what do you advise people to do?
Oh, well, okay. We have to dive deep right in the beginning, because one of the things that I've been helping people do recently that I think is really important is thinking about their future self, who is going to think about a decision that you've made, that you're making right now, and really think about and walk through, how is that person going to treat the person that's making the decision now? Are they going to support them? Are they going to be compassionate? You're in a big move. You're in the middle of making lots of decisions, and realize that person's doing the best they can right now with what they have and the available and their thoughts and what they think their future is going to look like, and be so proud of them. And so you had to buy some thread. You didn't have to. I guess you could have just got a new pillowcase, like
that's true.
Or you could have borrowed a friend's, or you could have reached out to a neighbor that had a sewing machine and had her do it. So there's so many options, but just to know that that person in the future is not going to get mad at you. She's going to be so compassionate and so proud of you for making those decisions right now, that it'll make it easier to make the decision and not second guess it so much and not worry about regretting it. Because maybe you wished you would have made a different decision, but that's okay.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. Why be so hard on myself? It's like a $10 little mistake, right?
Yeah.
And I'm just so frugal. I'm like, oh God, I've got to buy this stupid thing now.
But instead you would have been hauling the sewing machine around with you for the last 10 years or whatever, however long it was, trying to find a place for it and always questioning whether or not you should have got rid of it. So to think of the other side of it too. And of course you're going to need a needle and thread, like that's a good thing to have around. And
so should you slow down? Like, should one slow down? Like, give us some tips that you give? Okay, you come over my house and I say, Tracy, I've been in this house for 13 years or 14 years and I have to move everything out. How do we start? What do we do?
Oh, that's a big question. But I like to think of organizing as a project. So you're going to
Okay.
think to yourself, I'm going to start this day and I'm going to do this area and I'm going to complete it by this time. And that way it's not just this overwhelming, like huge project or huge thing that you need to do. And so pick an area and get it on your calendar, block off some time, or do little bits of time along the way and follow the organizing steps. I have a acronym said that's SPACE because we're
Okay.
providing space in our life. And all you have to do is follow that acronym every time you organize and you have this project planned out. So wherever you are, I mean, if you're moving, if you're just downsizing, if you just want to live in an elevated space that you know where things are and you can find them when you need them, which is the definition of organization, you can begin today to do that.
So in my house currently, I have a lot of paperwork all over the place. I moved in, I have these files that I've had over the years, and I have all this paperwork. How do you advise people? I feel like digital filing is so difficult. You have to scan, you have to put it in some digital folder. What do you advise people with all the clutter of paperwork that they get that they need, like car registration, your marital settlement agreement, all your explanation of benefits when you do, medical stuff. Like, what do you do with all that stuff?
Yes, with any of these things, I like to think of the future with where you're going. So at least you know, like I am going to keep digital copies of this and paper copies of this. And I don't care if people go all digital or not, or try to, or whatever. But as far as paper goes, it's just like any other category. You're going to follow the steps. So the first step would be to sort your paper. And people
Okay.
are like, Tracy, sorting paper, I decide if I'm keeping it, shredding, or letting it go. And I go, no, that's not what sort means. Sort just means put it into categories. So super important documents, things with the home, things with the car, investments, insurance, things I need to take action on. Those are your categories, and just get all the paper and sort it as fast as you can into those categories. And then go back through each one and you're going to purge. And with the purge step, which is the second letter in SPACE, you're going to choose your favorites. I mean, that works with other things, but even with paper, what are the one thing with your car that you need to keep, or the two things, categories in your car that you want to keep onto, or your home? And then the next step's assign homes. And so with files, I always say assign where you're going to keep it. If it's the file cabinet, then it's going to be in the file cabinet or a portable file box or wherever you decide. And then the fourth step is contain. So with paper, you're containing it in a file folder, most likely.
Mm-hmm.
And I always say label broad, super broad.
Oh, okay.
So home, car, insurance. And insurance, I keep life insurance, car insurance. It's all in one file. I never change the name, because then if I change a company, I have to change the label, and then the label never gets changed and it piles up on top. So I just do very broad insurance, credit cards. I put them all in one. Home, each member of the family gets a file. So things that go with the family members. If someone has a lot of medical issues, like they might have their own medical file right behind their name. But I just keep a basic, we call it a flex, our flexible medical insurance plan, anything goes in there. But I don't keep those statements of benefits in there. I just throw those out because I can look online when I get them. So think to yourself, can you find it online? If you can and you feel okay about it, you'll get more and more comfortable as you do it. Then you can let those things go. And one caveat, always talk to your accountant and just say, what do I actually need? Because then you have that security. Like they told me I need to keep it for 3 years. That's it. And then you know what exactly you need to keep.
Okay, that's really good. I like that tip, to keep those file folders really broad so that you're not spending hours like going through each
labeling.
one.
Yes.
Yeah. That's a really good tip. Why is it so hard for us to let things go? even when we know we don't need them? What's the psychology behind that?
All those emotions. And I was just working on a little project, a workshop in my group about the emotions of clutter. And fear comes up. You have a fear that you might need it. Like think of all the excuses that you keep something, like someone gave it to me, it's special. And then the feeling that that thought creates in our body, and that's the emotion. And
Mm-hmm.
then it's good just to name it. Name the emotion. I'm feeling fear right now that I might need this if I, in the future, whatever, if I get rid of it now. And name that emotion and then ask, what is the emotion protecting me from? So in that instance, the emotion of fear might be protecting you from getting beat up later by yourself if you let go of something. Or
Right.
it might be protecting you of guilt, or you might be feeling guilt. It's protecting you from a relationship that you had or the money that you spent and all those kinds of
Right.
things. So just think about the emotion and ask, what is it there for? Why is
Okay.
that emotion there?
Okay. That's really good. How do you clean out your closet? So I've had things in my closet that are really old. My daughter put on a shirt the other day. She's like, I bet you had the shirt before I was born. And I'm like,
But she was borrowing it? That's so
yeah. And
interesting.
I'm like, yeah, I did. And she's like, you must have good style because it's still relevant.
That's
But I was
awesome.
thinking like, that's really weird. I do have a lot of really old things in my closet. Um, for people who buy a lot of stuff, what's that about? Like they buy so many pieces of clothes and their closet's bulging. I've seen that. And then people
Mhm.
like me who buy very little. What is it? What's like the happy medium? And why, like, what is it about me that I buy very little and then the person who buys a lot?
Well, I mean, it could be that the person that overbuys, I would call it overbuying, and it's individual, right? Because we each have something that we like that we tend to spend money on or time on, and everybody's is different. But if you're overbuying something, a lot of times that's what I would call buffering to avoid an emotion. So,
Okay.
or you like the feeling of that dopamine hit when you get something new. And so you're
Right.
overbuying. Could be that you don't even know what you have. You've bought 10 other pair of black pants and you're
Right.
buying another one because you can't remember that you have one that you loved last month. So it
Right.
could be either of those two things. And with the closet, Tara, I love a closet is such an easy one to do simple 15-minute sessions with. So pull out your pants, all the pants. And some people are like, well, I have 200. Well, okay, it
Mm-hmm.
might take longer than 15 minutes, but pull all of one category out. So you're sorting, you're pulling all the pants out. Then you could sort by jeans, dress pants, whatever. And then you go to the purge step. You pick your favorites, the ones that you wear every single day. And then you look at the rest of
Mm-hmm.
them and ask those questions. And then you're going to assign homes to them in your closet. Where are they going to live? Is it going to be stacked on a shelf? Is it going to be hanging on a rod? Then you can contain. I have a shelf divider that I put in between my two piles of pans because most of them
Mm-hmm.
are folded. And then you are energized. That's the E in space. You're energized. And to maintain the energy that you create doing that, you're going to tie it to something you already do. So in the closet, you already either get dressed in the morning or you go to bed at night or you do laundry each week. And every time you do that, you pick up, you tidy up, you make sure that everything's in its area. But after you do your pants, like maybe the next day or the next week, you pull out your shirts and you do your shirts.
Yeah, that's really good. What about people who are fluctuating with weight and they say, oh, one day I'm going to fit into those, so I'm going to keep them?
Yeah.
Or they're thin and they're like, oh, I lost all this weight, but maybe one day I'm going to gain weight and I'm going to need that. What do you say to them? Because I'm sure you hear that a lot.
Yes, I hear it a lot. I think, first of all, it's okay to want to keep stuff that's bigger or smaller, just in
Okay.
case. That's not a problem. But I would encourage people not to keep it in the closet
Oh,
because it takes up space. It makes you feel disorganized if it's a whole bunch of stuff, and it makes you feel guilty if it's something that's smaller that you don't fit into yet. So watch what emotion you're feeling when you go in your closet. and just pack it away for a time being, put a label on it so you know where it is and what is in the tub, and make sure when you pack that you choose your favorites. Don't keep everything, but
Okay.
choose the most important things, put them in there and keep them, and maybe put an appointment on your calendar in 6 months, and maybe you can check back in with that box, and eventually you feel confident enough to let that go.
Okay. Here's a good question for you that's practical that just happened to me. So my daughter just had ankle surgery and she has a knee scooter and she has crutches. And my son, just very weird, had to have ankle surgery a month before her. It's just like a fluky thing. And now that that's happened, I have this knee scooter. I'm scared to get rid of it. Do I keep it or do I get rid of it
Where
and
did
just
you
get it?
get it when you needed it?
Somebody in our neighborhood gave it to us for
Oh.
free.
Yes. So maybe you can post, does anybody need this? And be giving back just like someone gave to you.
Yeah.
And just trust. Another thing is just trusting that I'm going to have everything I need when I need it. And here is proof that that's true, that you can
Okay.
believe that and trust it, that someone gave it to you when you needed it.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point because I bet you a lot of people have that kind of stuff in their garage that they keep just in case, like a boot, the boots they
Yes.
put you
We have
in,
a
and
boot.
they're expensive. These things are
Right.
expensive things.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh God, I had to spend this much money on it. What if it happens again? And I know I'm supposed to be purging it, but then that fear, like you said, that it's for me would be money fear. I don't want to spend
Yeah.
this money again.
Well,
For
and so
others,
yeah, you can trust that you'll have it, or there's nothing wrong with keeping it, deciding you're going to keep it, and putting it in a place that you know where it is. Like maybe you have all medical type things in one spot.
yeah,
There's not a problem with that. Either way, it's just deciding intentionally versus leaving it sit in the corner for 2 years because you couldn't decide one way or the other.
right. Make a decision. You're
Yeah.
saying make a decision. What about kids' artwork? That's a big one.
Yes.
When people are cleaning out their houses and they have all the artwork and the weird pottery and the
Yes.
fish or whatever the
Everyone,
kids made.
we all had a little dragon monster thing or something. And my son was like, just throw that out, Mom. And I was like, oh, but all 4 of you have one. It's so
Yes,
special.
exactly.
Um,
Exactly.
yeah, artwork. I say when my kids were young and they were in school, we each had a memorabilia tub, is what we called them. And so if they wanted to keep it, they would put it in their tub or on top of it if it was a really huge piece of art or something. And they would put it in there. And when that tub started getting full, we'd all go down and sit there and go through it their own. They'd each go through their own and make some more decisions. Like, what do they need to clear out to fill in to make space for the next thing that's coming in? And that was such a fun memory of them going through that and saying, what did
Hmm.
I keep this for? This is goofy. So you have a tub of artwork that one day, or of memorabilia, not just artwork,
Hmm.
that you're one day going to give to them when they have a house or have a home or whatever. Another client, she got that art box. There's so many different things. She got an art box. She puts all the artwork in it and then sends it away, and they make a book of
Oh,
art for
yeah.
her.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, so she did that, and it's amazing. Now she has a coffee table little book of her kids' artwork, and she was able to get rid of all of it because she had
Yeah.
that. Another client chose, you could choose your favorite 1 or 2 and get them framed, and she has it in her bath. She just sent me a picture of this. She has this art that her daughter did, and it's framed in it. I think it's in her like guest bathroom or something, and it's so cute. She has it professionally framed, and it looks amazing.
Oh,
So
that's a good
put it out, like
idea.
honor it and use it if you're going to keep it.
You should ask her if you could put that on your website as an example. I think that would be really cool. Like if
Yeah,
it looks good. Yeah.
yes, yes, and
Yeah.
where she frames it too. She told me where she sends things off to get them framed. I'll have to find out from
Yeah.
her.
That's
Yeah.
a good one. Okay. What about people who love going to estate sales? And I go to those estate sales, Tracy, and I'm like, this lady lived here for 50 years. She has this beautiful china now that's for sale for $100 or whatever for the whole set. Just give a number to it. She never used it. She just had it packed away in her cabinet or her special area. Didn't touch it for whatever years. And now it's at an estate sale. Like, what do you tell people with all that stuff that they keep waiting for that one day to use?
Well, use it. First of all, get it out now and use it. And I know we just walked through like an antique mall and there was just china everywhere. Like everyone is selling china and nobody seems to be buying it, or
Right.
most people don't. So think about that. And before you buy something, think about where it's going to live in your house. Like
Mm-hmm.
if you get it, when will you use it? Where will it live? How often will you use it? Who will want it later? Do you have too many things like that already? And which one will you get rid of to bring that one in the house? So cautiously buy things or intentionally buy them knowing what you're going to do and where they're going to live at home. But yeah, it's like get rid of stuff, be generous, be open. And I had a client recently whose father passed, and she told me when I was asking her what we could do, she said, just make sure you tell people to go through their stuff. Don't leave their kids with a mess. Leave a
Mm-hmm.
legacy. Leave it cleaned up so that they can easily go through things. And you have intentionally saved the things and told people what you wanted them to do with it if you knew.
Right.
Because it's such a big thing for a child to have the grief of the loss and have to deal with all the stuff.
All the stuff. My mom has this beautiful china that she bought from her trips abroad in Asia. Gorgeous. She never uses it. And I'm like, Mom, you should be using this. Like, don't use the Marshalls, $5 whatever plates.
Yeah.
Use this. Like, it's been stored in her cabinet, never touched. Maybe she used to use them at dinner parties when I was really young. And I think, what a shame. Like, so many people have all this stuff that they just pack away, they don't use. Somebody like me
Mhm.
comes and buys it for 50 cents, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I love going to estate sales. I have to actually, the other day I was at one and I bought a piece of artwork and I'm like, I don't really need to buy this. And I was hoping it was an oil and I'm hoping it still is. I'm not sure, but I bought it and I was like, why did I do that? So I have an issue with buying people's stuff. I love going to estate sales. It really brings me joy. And I feel like when I get something from an estate sale that's special, I bring that person's energy into my house.
Oh, I love
And
that.
usually I could feel like, oh, this is something somebody cherished. So that's kind of my little guilty pleasure. Um, what do you see most often with women when they're going through a major life change and they call you for your expertise? Like they call you and they say, Tracy, what's the most common thing they ask for? I'm just curious.
Where do I start? Probably the biggest thing. I don't have time in my life already. I'm so far behind. That's a big one. Like I shouldn't have let it get to this.
Hmm.
I'm behind. Yeah.
Then what do? You come in and you say what? Like, how do you?
Yeah. I think the first thing is let's make a plan. And where do
Okay.
you want to go? So we know where we're going. And then we can make a plan. And then we can break it down by area.
Hmm.
And then I think we can still, in our mind, see all the stuff that's left to do. We have to erase that. And a visual that I think of is like all this stuff's written down on a piece of paper, and you have another piece of paper and you put it on top of it, and you cut a little circle over the thing you're working on. And you just stay focused on the part you're working on.
Okay.
And something that comes up a lot in that is, well, I don't have homes for the things that don't belong in this space. Like, I don't know where they should go. You just have to decide, and you're testing. You're just like, maybe I'm going to consider that all pictures are going to live in this closet over here, but the closet's smush full and you don't have room. So just put them outside the closet. You're going to leave them there and you're going to get to that area when you get there. But the space you're working on, make it how you want it. Just make it so beautiful and so organized, and then go back to that every day and over celebrate and just enjoy it, and then move to the next space. So you don't keep switching around and
Okay.
you stop thinking of all the other stuff you need to do. Or if you do, write it on that bottom piece of paper where all of it's written, but keep the top piece on so you just see the area you're working on.
And what about the famous junk drawer? Everybody has junk drawers in their house. And it's like, oh, I need this. Oh, I need that. My keys are here. And this is this. screwdrivers in there and they're smushed in. And what do you do with the junk drawer?
The junk drawer is a perfect 15-minute organizing project. It might take longer than that, which is fine, but start with the junk drawer. And we just did a junk drawer presentation, and in one of my free trainings I have, I organize my neighbor's junk drawer, and so I show it in 15 minutes how you do it exactly. And so
how do you see that video?
You can go to simplysquaredaway.com/training and sign up for the next training, should be listed on there. And you can sign up for that training. And I show it during the training.
Oh, okay.
And
good. I want to see that.
Steps. Yes.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Okay, ladies, sign up for that so we could see the junk drawer. Okay, what did you tell them though? Let's hear the practical advice.
Well, I like to, and in this training, I talk about this, is choosing a purpose for the drawer. The drawer needs a purpose. And someone goes, I don't want to call it a junk drawer. I want to call it a handy drawer. And I'm like, I love that. So that drawer's purpose is to have handy things so you can get to them easily. And then you follow the steps. You sort your junk drawer all out. You purge each category. You assign homes to it, what's living in there. And then you contain it with things that are maybe already in your house, little Apple phone boxes or little containers you probably have used somewhere else. And then then the last step's to energize. You have that cleaned out space, open it, use it. But notice when you're doing it, what kinds of things are in there that aren't you don't want in there. Were they in there because you just opened the drawer and shoved everything in when someone was coming over? Or do they not have homes and they need to be designated a home for? Or what is the thing why are the things in there? Because you don't need to have a junk drawer. Right. If everything has a home, you'd be able to put it away. Now, sometimes if it gets messy and just everything needs to be maintained, right?
Right.
So it's just good to notice when you do your junk drawer, just notice like what is in there and why is it in there?
Okay. So I like what you just said, contain. So give us some. So this is a really funny story, Tracy.
Okay.
Many years ago, before COVID, I had an event at my house for Doctors Without Borders. And a woman came to speak who was living in Africa, and she was there for a long time. And she came back home, and she said, I came back and I went to the Container Store, and I couldn't believe that we Americans go to a store to buy stuff to contain our junk and clutter. Like, it's just so foreign when you've been to someplace like Africa. Like, it's just ironic. And she just couldn't believe it, the Container Store. I always feel a little bit weird, like if I'm at TJ Maxx home. I don't know if you have that where you're located, and I'm buying little plastic things to put my clutter in for organization. But what you just said is like, find an iPhone box, find this, find that. Give us some tips where we don't have to go and buy stuff to contain our stuff. It just seems so wasteful.
Right. Well, I mean, it could be useful. It's very useful in some cases because the container just signals to us when it reaches its limit that it's time to go through the organizing steps again. But I always say shop your house first. You probably have stuff in your house and notice boxes that you get. Like I just ordered this journal and it came in a box and that box might work if I needed it. Now I won't save that in case, but if I'm looking for it or if I have a little spot where I keep boxes in case I want to use them for a gift or something. But notice the things that you have. I know in my junk drawer, which I show in this training, that there's a box in there that I got from, it's like one of those meat and cheese boxes that you get in the mail, but it was perfect. When I got it, fits in there. The tape measure fits in one section. The little nails that we use to put stuff on the wall fits in another section. So it was perfect for that. And it's not beautiful. I wouldn't post it on Pinterest or Instagram, but it has served us for the 20 years we've lived in this house. And so use what you have and just be glad more about you know what you have and you can find it when you need it, which is the definition of organization.
One of the questions I had for you, I just looked down on my little question sheet, which is I'm digressing to another topic, but I think it's a good question for the people who listen to this podcast. And that is, how do you let go of items connected to a marriage or relationship? I think that's a
Hmm.
good question. Do you ever get that question?
That's a great question. We had Sade Curry come as an expert guest in my Organized Life Academy who had just went through a divorce. Well, she didn't just go, but she was moving. And so she had a whole room full of stuff that when she thought about it, it was all tied to her divorce. It brought up tons of emotion. She had been avoiding it and procrastinating. And what she did that has been so powerful for me to share with other people, not just about divorce, but about anything that you have that you've been avoiding, is she would go into the room and just sit for 5 minutes and feel all the emotions that came up. That was her organizing time. But the
Mm-hmm.
first step of it was just to realize the emotion. And then the next day, she would go back in there and just sit for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Then the next day, she would go back until the day came when she felt calm enough, courageous enough. I don't know what the right emotion for her was at the time, but then she opened a box and she just took it as slow as she needed to be
Mm-hmm.
able to handle and work through and process those emotions.
Yeah. Okay. That's a really good tip. So just don't rush and work through the emotion.
Yeah, another thing that came up, and this wasn't about divorce, but recently something happened to me that it just made me so upset. And I mean, I was so angry, so sad, hurt, disappointed. And after being that way for a while, we were leaving to go on vacation. I'm like, I cannot spend my whole vacation feeling like this. And the thing that made the difference for me was thinking, this was supposed to happen.
Mm-hmm.
This was exactly what was supposed to happen. And how do I know? Because it happened.
Mm-hmm.
And the acceptance part of it was huge. So I think in that case with the divorce, you're sitting there looking at these things that bring up all this emotion. And in that, just try on or consider or let your mind dwell on that. Like different thoughts like that are really helpful to help us. Like if I accepted it, if this was the closure,
Mm-hmm.
and then go from there. So it's just really holding the space for all those emotions that come up.
That's a really good tip. What about furniture? So the reason why I give a lot of examples is because I think it's really great to give examples because
I
people are
love,
going through the exact same thing. I know
yeah.
it. Okay, so I have this heirloom piece of furniture and it's been in my family. It's this beautiful carved. My ex-husband doesn't like it. He calls it the cuckoo clock, but I think it's beautiful and it's very Germanic and it's been in my family. But I'm in a different place now. I live in a kind of a beachy place and he's downsizing and I don't think anyone's going to buy it because antiques really aren't in style as in vogue anymore. So I put it on Facebook Marketplace for $200, but it makes me sick to think about somebody just basically put a price on it because sometimes if you put free, then people don't really value it. So you have to sell it for something. I've noticed there's a psychology to selling stuff. But it makes me so sad to think that it's going to go away. How do you part with things that you know you can't use anymore, but you have such emotional connection with? I know I'm so worried that one day I'm going to be like, why did I sell that? I should have just kept it in my garage. Why did I sell it? I could have painted it white, made it look like more Swedish, and there's things I could do with it. What if I move into a bigger house? What if I need it one day and it'll be gone?
Yeah. Then I think it's really important to make the decision and then support yourself that you made that decision. But I also think back when you talked about how you love going to estate sales and finding things and you treasure them.
Yeah.
So this is kind of goofy, but I like thinking of the item having like a little personality. And we could stick it in the garage and it could be really sad in
Hmm.
there, sitting by itself, piled with stuff in the garage. Or you could sell it. Or if it doesn't sell, you could give it to like a ministry that is making houses for ex addicts or something like
Hmm.
that.
Hmm.
And it could have this adventurous life that
Yeah.
it gets to
Yeah.
be used and appreciated rather than just holding on to it in case.
Right. Do a lot of people do that? They hold on in case?
Oh, yes, I think we
Yeah.
all do that. We hold on to things in case we'll need them.
Yeah.
Instead of releasing that thing to have an adventurous life that someone will find it and be so overjoyed. And I always think I can release the future and who's going to find it and whose path that item's going to cross with. I can release that and just imagine that it's all going to turn out right because it will. And
Yeah.
someone will enjoy it and that thing will have an adventure versus being stuck somewhere forever.
Yeah. And then also, um, I just feel like by giving it away, basically it's almost giving it away. Um, Something else can come into your life later when you need something,
Yeah.
like you're looking for that special piece or you move and you want a special piece. I mean, if it's not so emotional that you want to keep it, I guess it's time to give it away. Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and sometimes we all need that permission too. Like, yes, it is time. And you have other things that you love. And if we keep everything, then nothing is really special because we just have everything and it's all special. But really, when you keep less, you're able to enjoy the things that are special.
Yeah. Like we had a trampoline, a spring free trampoline. I think we spent like almost $2,000 on it when my kids were young. And I was like, we got to give this trampoline away because I don't want to have it in the house anymore. And the first person who responded to me on Facebook Marketplace was a teacher. And he says that he refurbishes the trampolines and because we priced it low just to get rid of it as is. And he says I refurbish them and then I resell them. And I thought, what a good thing. Like this teacher in our community, this is his side hustle.
Yeah.
He's going to make, whatever, 400, $500 from this. And I'm doing something good. So
That's
I
what
think
I
that's kind
think.
of what you're talking about.
Yes. And I think some people have an issue with donating to places like Goodwill or Savers, depending on what people have in their area, that are for profit donation places. And I think someone is going in there, finding treasures and reselling them to make money for their side hustle or to support their family. Like
Yes.
that's, or to get the things their family needs. Like that's an amazing, generous thing to do to donate no matter where we give it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really good. So before we kind of head off, tell me how you got into this business of organizing and emotional resiliency through this because you're a coach, life coach as well.
Mhm.
How did you marry these two? I'm just so curious.
Yes. Well, when my youngest started school, I stayed at home with her, with all four of my kids before that. When she started school, I knew I was going to help people organize. And it's interesting because one of her best friend lived in our neighborhood and nobody was allowed in their house.
Hmm.
So I would talk to the mom and nobody could ever go in the house. And so I offered when I first started, when the girls started school, I said, I'll come in and I'll help you. And so that's how I first started my business. So I would go into people's homes and offices, but it's a physical job. And I
It
knew
is.
eventually that I wasn't wanting to do that forever. And
Hmm.
so in 2018, I found life coaching and I decided to get life coach certified through the life coach school. And before that, I never was into self help. I didn't know anything about mindset type stuff or anything. I just went in, we took action, we got it done.
Hmm.
After that, I learned so much on how much our mindset and our belief and our identity of who we think we are and what we're believing impacts our organization. And since then, combining the mindset and the practical steps has been transformational for people because it takes both. I can't even believe I did it for so many years without knowing any of that. And now it's just like, it's just so what's the word, rewarding
Hmm.
to see
Hmm.
someone's life transform and to see them discover, I've been believing that I needed to know exactly where this item should go, and
Hmm.
now her thought is, I'm going to test this, maybe this will be the permanent location. And her learning that and seeing that has changed everything with organization, with work, with time on her calendar, with dating. She's now considers maybe this will be the permanent person. Maybe we'll have a permanent home here. But
Right.
she's able to do it instead of that perfectionist or that thinking she had to know the perfect home for something in advance. And it all came from organization, but
Mm.
from that mindset piece of it. It's so amazing.
Yeah, because there's organizing your life, good time management. There's so many parts of organization that's not just your house. It's like,
Yes.
your
Yeah.
social life. And
Your
so,
mind, we use
yeah.
the same steps in your mind. I help people organize their back end of their businesses. We use the same steps.
Hmm.
It's amazing, like projects, everything. Those 5 steps work.
I love that. Well, Tracy, tell people how they can get a hold of you and what kind of trainings you offer. Because I know you
Yes.
have some trainings on your website.
Yeah. So the 2 things I would say to start with is my 15-minute declutter challenge. That will give you the 5 steps. You'll have a little printout. That's at simplysquaredaway.com/declutter. And if you want to join the live training, it's simplysquaredaway.com/training.
Okay, that is exciting.
Yes.
And can people visit you on social media as well?
Yep. I'm on Instagram at Tracy Hoth and on my podcast, The Organized Coach.
Yep. And I think I pronounced your name incorrectly at the beginning. Apologies.
Yeah, I forgot to everyone, it rhymes with both, but I
Okay.
forget to tell people. So yeah.
It's okay. People call me Tara all the time and I just let it go. Well, it's
I
been
know.
great. Yeah. Go ahead.
I went and found out. I'm like, wait, how does she say it? So I'm like, oh yeah, it's Tara. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Well, thank you so much for being on this show. I'm sure everyone's going to learn a ton. And it's been really great chatting with you.
Yes. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening to Talk with Tara. If you love today's episode, please follow the show and share it with a friend. Stay tuned. There's so much more to talk about. See you next time.